Hello, Tashitele. I hope everyone is doing fine. Everyone is taking good care of yourself. Take good care of your families, friends, and pets. And all doing good. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so we start with short meditation to settle ourselves in the present moment. Just simply focusing on the natural breathing. Now, refresh your refuge practice. Then visualize and feel the presence of all the lineage gurus, starting from your root guru, like such as Gyalja Lama Sobramaji, son of Dalai Lama, and any spiritual gurus of yours, then all the way up to Lama Tsongkhapa, then all the way up to Geshe Domtemba, Geshe Chekawa, Geshe Sharawa, Geshe Podowa, Geshe Langri Tamba, Geshe Domtemba, Lama Atisha, and all the lineage gurus of the profound teaching. Asanga, all the way up to Buddha Maitreya. Then lineage gurus of the lineage gurus of the extensive teaching, which is from Asanga all the way to Maitreya. Lineage gurus of the profound teaching from Nagarjuna all the way up to Buddha Manjushri. Those of you familiar with the merit field, Lama Tsongkhapa merit field, you can visualize similar like that. the central figure of the merit field is your root guru. Surrounded by all the 10 direction Buddha, Bodhisattvas, Dharmadakinis, deities, Dhammapalas. So there you make extensive seven limbs of practice, offer actual and visualize offerings. Whatever offering that you have in your house, including everything, the foods in the fridge, the house, the rest of the possessions, your jewelry, your clothes, including your body, speech, and mind. Then imagine offerings, visualize offerings of entire universe, all the mountains, all the oceans, all the rivers, all the flowers, all the rocks, all the soil, everything, and all the sentient being in the form of perfect service, in the form of immortal nectar, in the form of wish-fulfilling jewels, and that also in numberless times, infinite, offer to each and every merit field. Then all the merit field express, immense of bliss. Naturally, ourselves receive the blessing of purifications of the karma, accumulation of extensive merit, and cause us to, without delaying, to become just like the object of the merit fields in their qualities. Purify all the past negativities through the reflection, through the antidote of the four opponent power. Make extensive rejoice. Just on the Friday, Buddha's returning day has happened. Commemorated the Buddha's returning day around the world. All the Buddhist practitioners, everyone engaged in extensive merits, extensive cultivation of practices in virtue. And due to that, all the 10 generation Bodhisattvas pleased. All the sentient beings received the blessing of protection, blessing of prayers. So it is extensive merits and virtues, including each and individual ourselves, utilize that the most meaningful way, conducting only virtues. So rejoice. We rejoice to each other. We rejoice to all the past, present, future Buddhas, gurus, sanghas, virtues, merits. Now we request, all this merit field always remain among us, remain within us inseparably. Then request grant the blessing of Dharma, blessing of protection, request never to depart from being oneness from you until oneself and the rest of the sentient being achieve the state of the merit field, the resultant merit field within us. So now do short meditation on love and compassion, keeping in heart so many humans are suffering from this coronavirus. Not only that, there's so many individuals suffering from, all sort of individual sufferings, mentally, physically. Mm. Mm. And right this very time, around the world, there's a lot of distractions of natural disaster, a lot of distractions of political differences, a lot of distractions of delusions, a lot of abuse. These are just a few to name, so much sufferings out there. Then more intense than the human suffering, the suffering in the three lower realms, unimaginable sufferings, including suffering in the God realm, demigod realms. As long as within the sixth realm, there's immense of suffering of changes, and pervasive suffering. Keeping that in heart, then generate sincere, great compassion from depth of one's heart. Sincerely wishing and wanting to free them from entire suffering and its causes, and cultivate love that you only want them to experience happiness, lasting happiness, up to the happiness of liberation, full enlightenment. Okay, thank you. So today we will, it's a continuation from this great collection of Lojong texts. And today we will go through the 7-point mind training by Kadamba, great Kadamba Geshe Chekawa, Ishidolje. Geshe Chekawa first inspired on the Lojong teaching after after seeing the Langri Geshe Langri Kadamba Great Kadamba Geshe Langri Thamba's adverses, then immediately, he traveled a very lengthy journey to meet Geshe Langri Thamba to confirm, this, such a Lojong teaching, in particularly one particular verse that he was the first verse, and also the verse that taking defeat to oneself and offering victory to others. Geshe Chekawa, when first saw that, it is shocking. It is it almost like how to say uncouplable in such practices. For ordinary human being. So just to check whether such practice is possible for us to practice, able to achieve the the practice, etc. So when he reached the Pembo region, then Geshe Langri Thamba already passed away. So then he met up with Geshe Sharawa. Then he raised this question to Geshe Sharawa, that who has a close practice with the Lojong practices already. So then Geshe Sharawa, the question that Geshe Chekawa raised is, accepting defeat in oneself and offering victory to others is such practice. Is there such practice? Is this Buddha's teaching? Is this, as an ordinary human being can able to cultivate or not? Is this practice is essential or not? So Geshe Sharawa replied that if you wish to achieve full enlightenment, then without this practice, enlightenment won't be possible. And this teaching is the essence teachings coming from Buddha's own words, the sutras. So then Geshe Chekawa was very, very deeply touched. Then Geshe Chekawa requests Geshe Sharawa to reveal the instruction. And Geshe Sharawa said that if you want to learn this teaching, and you have to, spend quite lengthy time with me. So then Geshe Chekawa decided to, receive teaching and get trained in these practices with Geshe Sharawa. And they almost about 11 to 12 years, did practice. So after learning through all these Lojong teachings, Geshe Chekawa realized that such a precious and effective teaching, and such an essential teaching, up to now it has been, very much secretly revealed to the very, very fully coming ripened disciples only, not revealed publicly, broadly in public. So in the concern of bringing much benefit to the sentient being, much benefit to the people, then Geshe Chekawa wrote this root text, mind training in 7 points. So this is how the teaching came about, and from there, so many different commentaries on the mind training teachings have came about, and in relation to Gelug tradition, Lama Tsongkhapa have written one of most celebrated commentary on the 7 point mind training in 7 point, the sun rays of mind training teaching. So so today we will go through this. We will go through this root text. We will do brief, detaching the meanings, but elaborate commentary will follow after this text. The elaborate commentary by Sage Chibu Chugi Kyanzen on mind training on 7 point. Extensive commentary is there. So we will also do that text. That is part of this great collection. So for the root text, we just read through it and just briefly point out a few important points, and we will have an elaborate commentary later. Thank you. So those of you using the same text, then it is on page 83. 7 point mind training. Check out So from the 7 point, the first point, the presentation of the preliminary, the basis. First train in the preliminaries. So in order to practice the mind training, the mind training teaching, which is training the mind on the true altruism, training the mind in true awakening and the bodhicitta and emptiness, require the preliminary basis in order to successfully, cultivate or hope to cultivate the training in true awakening. Without the preliminary, as the practice in the basis, the preliminary teachings, the training in a true awakening mind won't able to happen, won't able to cope, you see. So therefore, training in preliminary is essential. So the preliminary here can be summarized the basic teachings on the 3 scopes. Each scope has its own main practice of method and practice of wisdom, and each of those practices has its own basis according with the three level of scopes, or the three yanas, or the 3 level of scopes. So an example, practice of refuge, cultivation of 10 virtuous precepts, the cultivation of the practice in karma, serve as a basis, preliminary basis, in order to cultivate the method, a method to overcome the falling into the 3 low realms, or in other words, to overcome the negation of the if you refer to the 3 scope, then to overcome the false causes which will lead us to reborn in the 3 low realms, and the cause, then cultivating the causes to actualize 3 higher rebirths, using the wisdom wisdom of no self, using the wisdom of no self. If I would say then for the middle scope, then the Tarat engaging in the observations of the karmic law, cause and effect, and the teaching on like Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Paths, etc., in order to cultivate, in order to eradicate the causes that bring that bring result into the sixth realm of cyclic existence, and accumulate the causes to actualize freedom from samsara, to actualize nirvana through the method practice of love, ethics of love, kindness, compassion, then wisdom of wisdom of no self. Yeah. So then, for the higher scope, through the cultivation of through the cultivation of the great renunciation, renunciation concerning the eradications of the samsara and its causes in others, then through the cultivation of unconditional great love and great compassion, then wisdom of emptiness, to eradicate the faults of samsara and its causes to self and to rest of the sentient being, and to actualize the full enlightenment, through the through these preliminary practices, by actualizing the wisdom of emptiness and a method of bodhicitta, then actualize Buddhahood. You see, so and if this refer to the three yanas, then small renunciation. Then what's it? Renunciation. If this refer to the three yanas, then the renunciation to overall samsara, which is the basis, preliminary basis, in order to actualize the perfect wisdom and method for the small and middle capable being to actualize perfect liberation. Then the great renunciation as a basis to cause the great practitioner and great yana by actualizing the perfect method of altruism and perfect wisdom of emptiness to actualize the Buddhahood. So like that. So the true altruism, in order to actualize the true altruism, one has to be, the practitioner has to be trained. Those preliminaries, refer to the three scopes, or the preliminaries which refer to the three yanas. With that, then the actual practice of the wisdom, altruistic wisdom, and altruistic method will be able to practice perfectly. So therefore, first train in the preliminary. Then the second from the seven is training in the awakening mind, the main practice. So here on the 7-point training here, on the second, the training in the two main awakening mind, first emphasize about the wisdom, the awakening mind of wisdom. Then secondly, emphasize the awakening mind of the bodhicitta. And many other teachings, they emphasize the method aspect of the altruism first, then wisdom, emphasized later. So there could be many different reasons. One of the reasons is this mind training teaching is, very much the main disciple is the great disciple, or the smart disciple, or the most courageous disciple. Then the most courageous disciple or the smartest disciple, entering into the path, they realize emptiness even before, not must, but there are, capability to realize emptiness, wisdom before even realizing the bodhicitta. So in that context, reveal the wisdom first, then method, after that. So train in the awakening mind, the main practice. So A and B. Training in the ultimate awakening mind. Train to view all phenomena as a dream-like. So yeah. So this is very much, referring. The first line is very much the consists of the essence viewpoint of both the practice in meditation and practice in post-meditation. Train in the view all phenomena as a dream-like, as an illusion-like, dream-like. Examine the nature of the unborn awareness. The remedy too is freed in its own place. Place your mind on the basis of all, the actual path. So examine the nature of the unborn awareness is very much the sequence when we want to realize emptiness, the emphasizing the first point, which is to analyze the negation, to recognize the negation. Examine the negation. Okay. Examine the nature of the unborn awareness. So actualize the emptiness wisdom by examining the existence of whether there's existence of actualize the emptiness of the awareness of emptiness through the examining of the existence of negation on the object of analysis. So an example form or an example form. So you examine, you try to actualize the awareness of the form lack of substantial existence. Lack of substantial existence, which is lack of true existence, through examining there is inherent substantial substance there or not. Through the examining that, finding lacking of substantial existence inherently from the on the object, then actualize the unborn awareness of emptiness, emptiness of form. So that relate to similar, like when you want to figure it out, the selflessness of the person or selflessness of phenomena. So first, first examine first examine thoroughly there's an inherent substantial existence on the base, like how Saudantika Madhyamika asserted in order to actualize self or in order to actualize form, on the base, you need one substantial substance. If there's no substantial inherent on the base, then the subject mind won't able to label as a person or as a form. Even though the subject, the mind, is a lack of substantial existence, but in order to actualize something as a person or as an object, there must need of even a one atom of substantial inherent from the object side. Otherwise, won't able to actualize the existence. You see, so the Lojong teaching here, the view of emptiness is based on the Pasangika Madhyamika. So therefore, the negation, the ultimate negation that need to negate is the substantial existence from on the basis. Substantial existence on the basis in order to actualize the existence. So that has to be refuted. That has to be negated. So in order to negate that, first we need to examine the way how we perceive, the way how we believe that we must need something out there in order to actualize something, whether that is realistic or not, whether that is definite or not. So through the examination that on the basis, then finding of non-existent, lacking of substantial existence on the basis is the actualizing the unborn awareness. So like that. And the second line, the remedy too is freed in its own place. Not only the object that perceived by the wisdom mind as a lack of inherent existence or lack of substantial existence, but even the emptiness mind, emptiness wisdom, the remedy too is freed in its own place. It is freed by inherent existence in its own existence. You see, so it's very much like in the Heart Sutra. The first line is understanding form is emptiness. Then second one is emptiness also. The emptiness wisdom that actualizing emptiness on the form also lies in the emptiness, lies in the nature of lack of inherent existence. So the remedy emptiness too is freed of substantial or inherent or true existence in its own right. Therefore, emptiness is ultimate. Therefore, emptiness is existent. Therefore, emptiness is definitely there. Because of it is freed of the faults of substantial existence or inherent existence by its own right, by its own nature. That is its own absolute nature. Substantial existence is not absolute nature. Both of the subject or object like that. So place your mind on the basis of all the actual path. So this is talking about when you meditate. After realizing this wisdom, the both object and the subject in the nature of lacking of substantial existence or in the nature of lacking of inherent existence, then that understanding, that wisdom to be placed on your object of meditation, which is your mind placing on the lack of inherent existence on the all phenomena. And that is the actual path. And that is the actual, what do you mean by path of seeing? That is the actual path of seeing. What I mean by path of meditation? That is the actual path of meditation. What do you mean by that is the part of normal learning, Dharmakaya? That is the part of normal learning, Dharmakaya. You see? So like that. So place your mind, the mind that which meditate on the emptiness wisdom. You see, mind that meditate on emptiness wisdom. You see, mind that realizing emptiness on the object and subject, and the mind that meditating on that wisdom. There's a two different mind. You see, mm, mm. Uh, on that basis of all, it's talking about the emptiness. Emptiness is the basis of all existence. You see, because of emptiness, everything is possible. If there's no emptiness, nothing is possible. You see, because of emptiness, samsara is possible. Because of emptiness, enlightenment is possible. Because of emptiness, all our prayers will be achieved. Because of emptiness, we can surpass on the path. You see, so emptiness is the basis of all. And which is the actual path or the actual dharma. So, what is the actual dharma? Actual dharma is the wisdom of the emptiness. The wisdom of the emptiness, the actual path. So that is talking about the meditation, meditation stage. So when you dual in meditation, you see, first you dual in the analytical meditation, examine the negation, recognize the negation, then seeing non-existent of negation on the object, then seeing of non-existent of the negation on the object itself is, realizing the emptiness in that object, realizing the empty of the negation, the ness, the existence of that phenomena or the I, the object. Then not only if you just realize the only object in emptiness, but the subject is still unclear, then the meditative equipoise won't be complete. So therefore, after realizing emptiness on the object, then you also need to realize the emptiness on the subject. After realizing the empty of all phenomena, both subject and object, then you dual in the single-pointed meditation on the emptiness, or you dual in the special insight. You dual in the that emptiness wisdom. That emptiness wisdom utilized by the serviceable mind, the most stable mind, then taking on to in the actions of negating the defilement along the 10 bhumis, along the 10 bhumis, in the way of antidote and in the way of cessation, and progress from path of seeing all the way up to the path of normal learning. So in the interval, be conjurer of illusion. So this is talking about in the post meditation. Then when you awake when you take break from the actual meditation, then in order to the path to continue to progress, not to get interrupted, the way for us to maintain that is through bringing this illusional-like wisdom in relation to our activities, our activities of the senses and the mind to the objects. Then, so this complete the awakening mind of wisdom. Now the B, the awakening mind of the method, training in the conventional awakening mind, train in the two, giving and taking alternately. So the practice of Tonglen. Place the two astride on your breath, astride your breath. So first train, Tonglen practice, taking and giving through the breathing in and out, train from there. So, yeah. There are 3 objects, 3 poisons, and 3 root of the virtues. In all action, trained by means of the words. Then cultivate, through the cultivation of 3 virtues, virtues of no, virtues of no attachment, virtues of no aversion, virtues of no ignorance, uh, uh, relating to the 3 objects, the loved one, the enemy, the stranger, and bring about elimination of 3 poison: attachment, aversion, and ignorance. And in order for us to sustainably, mindfully able to do that, we need the help of the words. In all action, in all such actions, when we relate, our body, speech, and mind, our thoughts in these 3 kind of different thoughts in relation to when we relate to 3 type of beings with others, whenever such emotion arises, then in order to overcome that, then train by means of word, like such as, may the suffering of all beings ripen upon me through my virtues. May all happiness achieved by others, etc. Or like what Nagarjuna in the precious garland, Shantidevas in the Buddha-Charya, the what do you call the wisdom of the knowledge of understanding the faults of self-cherishing and the advantage of cherishing others, and taking the practice of Tonglen practice into action. So through such words, remind ourselves to maintain 3 virtues when we come in contact with other sentient beings, in order to eliminate the 3 poisons like that. So now the third point, training the mind, taking adverse condition onto the path of enlightenment. When the world and its inhabitants boil with the negativity, transform adverse condition into the path of enlightenment. Banish all blame to the single source. Towards all being, contemplate their great kindness. With the 3 views, treasure of space, the yoga of protection is unexcelled. By meditating on illusion as a 4 Buddha's body, emptiness is protection unsuppressible. When the world and its habitat boil with negativity, you see, which is the relative situation we as a samsaric being, and in particularly in this 5 degenerative time, is for us to take every experiences, negative or positive, including all those of suffering or pain, into the development of the altruism, the wisdom and method. Transform adverse condition into the path of enlightenment. Transform all happiness into path of condition to develop the path of enlightenment. All negative conditions, adverse conditions comes in our way, adverse experience comes in our way, and transform that into a condition to develop, to awakening mind and develop path to enlightenment like that. Banish all blame to the single source. Whatever suffering that we comes by, whatever adversities comes in our way, no one to blame except to blame to self-grasping attitude and self-cherishing attitude. You see, self-grasping and self-cherishing, then that no one else, to be blamed whenever we go through any form of tragedies, any form of difficulties and sufferings. You see, so it is not just a word to turn things around, but in reality, when you look into the how the karma, how the karmic cause and effect function, then it is so true. Every single the negative experiences we go through is totally due to negative karma, and those negative karmas are created by our own self because of our body, speech, and mind has been under the control of self-grasping and self-cherishing. So self-grasping and self-cherishing is the mastermind, behind all the negative karma, behind all the negative experiences and the sufferings that we go through. So the way to understand and take into practice is to understand clearly this fact, then see the faults of the self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude, then taking that averse into a condition to enlightenment is, take opportunity to develop cherishing well-being of others, take opportunity to eradicate the concrete, the self-grasping attitude, to eradicate that. Towards all beings, contemplate their great kindness. So, as far as concerned with the other sentient beings, any other sentient being, the only thing that we can relate is their kindness to us. From beginningless lifetime up to now, even the slightest form of happiness, just simply getting a shelter and getting a food when we are hungry, and getting medicine when we are sick, and having families and friends around when we need someone to be around, even just to have sunshine, even just to have the daylight, even just to have the night, for night forms, even the so all these are due to the result of virtue, and all these virtues are only way is to commit is in relation to others, cultivation of beneficial deeds in relation to others. Due to that, then we have committed virtues in the past. Because of that, we have all these essential needs in our survival. You see, even though it's not an ultimate happiness, but then we, the experience of some, temporary sensual pleasure is better than the feeling of suffering or pain, isn't it? So you see, comparing to the suffering of pain, and even though samsaric, temporary pleasure is regarded as a result of the past virtue, result of the past virtue, you see. So all the opportunity that what we have, like, meeting, perfect Mayani Guru, then to able to, cultivate loving kindness, compassion, altruism, able to dedicate our life to serving other sentient beings. All these are beneficial deeds that happen in our life, and all these are not a result of the habitual, the negative nature that we had in the past, negative cultivation we had in the past in relation to self-cherishing and self-grasping. You see, it is because of that we have done some goodness in relation to other sentient beings. Because of that kindness of other sentient being being available for us to accumulate virtue, that's why we have all this, fabulous, freedom and condition, like such as to cultivate the Dharma. So therefore, the sentient beings are to contemplate their great kindness. With the three views and the treasury of space, three views. The views of empty of substantial reality in external phenomena, and the views of empty of substantial reality, the being within that environment, and views of empty of substantial reality, even the mind, the perception. So this is the three views. Treasury of us, these three views and the treasury of space, the empty of any bondage, like the space, empty of any bondage. The empty of substantial reality in these three, the three bases is like empty of any bondage of the wrong view of substantial reality, wrong view of true existence, wrong view of inherent existence, like that. The yoga of protection is unexcelled. So the cultivation of emptiness, cultivation, carrying the mind or the wisdom, or cultivating the exercise, the yoga of empty of substantial reality, empty of substantial existence, or empty of inherent existence in external environment, in living beings, and including our perception, then that yoga, that wisdom in our mind is the greatest protection, the protection which is unexcelled. By meditating on illusion as the four Buddha's body, emptiness is protection unsurpassed. More so, by meditating on the illusion as a four Buddha's body, like such as Buddha's Dharmakaya, Nirmana, Buddha's true truth body and true form body, the cessation body, Dharmakaya, then Sambhopakaya, Nirmanakaya, all are illusoration of the Dharmakaya wisdom. Similarly, by meditating our own mind, our own perception, our own body, and the rest of the environment which we depend on the illusion as a four Buddha's bodies. You can also say, so it's a four Buddha's body. When the actualization of four Buddha's body, wherever the four Buddha's body is actualized, entire existence, become celestial of the Buddha, celestial of the enlightened, isn't it? Blissful, celestial of the enlightened. The voidness of any obstruction of forms. Similarly, if we are able to actualize our own self, our own this ordinary basis, through the wisdom of emptiness, actualize this causal stage of a person into the four bodies of the Buddha, then that emptiness, that meditation, that wisdom in our mind, that understanding in our mind, is the protection unsurpassed. You see, so by meditating on illusion, through the meditation on emptiness, emptiness of empty of inherent, empty of substantial reality, substantial existence, or seeing the illusional light, or seeing illusional light on the subject, the object, and all the experiences in between, as a Buddha's as a manifestations of illusion. As a manifestation of illusion, there's nothing concrete, nothing inherent to be grasped on. When you achieve that wisdom, then that is the wisdom of emptiness. And that wisdom of emptiness is the unsurpassed, protection of emptiness, or protection to us. So so you can also relate, in the form of seeing all the false bases, including the idea of these, contaminated aggregates, contaminated mind, contaminated environment, and whatever the contaminated experiences when subject and object relate to. We have a grasping of inherent existence, grasping of true existence. You see. So because of that, we are unprotected. Because of that, delusion arises. Because of that, hallucination arises. Because of that, the hallucination of grasping arises. A hallucination grasping of attachment, or aversion, or ignorant, etc., etc. Because of that, bring immense of suffering to us. So now meditate on illusion alike. All this, the subject, the object, and the action in between, just simply understanding that they are, illusion alike, or they are just simply projection of, false view. There's no real inherently existent out there as how we perceive. By understanding that, we gain the unsurpassable protection of emptiness in our mind. Why this is unsurpassable protection? As long as we have, that firm understanding or firm realization of that wisdom in our continuum, we won't have attachment grasping. So then we don't have to experience any suffering in relation to attachment. We won't have aversion grasping. We won't suffer anything in relation to grasping that lead from the aversion. We won't experience any suffering of, ignorant, because of the suffering that, that we cannot perceive the truth. Then we trap into so many faults and we suffer. We don't have to suffer that, you see. So that is one understanding. Another understanding is actualize this ordinary basis into absolute, arising from the emptiness of wisdom into a Buddha's four bodies. Like how we, when we do daily yoga practices, how we, purify ordinariness into an empty, then from that empty, then arise into a deity, isn't it? Deity's body, speech, and mind, isn't it? Similar way. This is the sutra. So the sutric teaching. So the sutric teaching here is we have to eradicate through the understanding of the non-existent of the negation. Then on the basis of that empty, on the basis of that empty, then you actualize the pure existent. You actualize the Buddha's four body into you. So on emptiness, everything is possible. When you have the emptiness wisdom, then whatever you actualize, on the basis of that reality, that absolute truth, you're able to, actualize the actual existence of the Buddha even, you see. So when you're able to do that, then for your understanding, everything is pure. The subject, object, and all experiences in between, everything is like how Buddha would experience. Like how Buddha would experience when Buddha sit together with you and have a cup of coffee, Buddha will experience, perfect aroma, the most perfect aroma, most perfect, whatever to do with the coffee, and most of all, experience nectar. And oneself as unpurified person, as a human, you just experience, just normal coffee, You see. So, so similar way, where this Buddha coming from? Buddha, Buddha and his activities are arising or illustration from the Dharmakaya mind, the wisdom, the ultimate wisdom, emptiness of enlightened mind. You see. So similar way here, as a causal stage, we too, have the capability to purify the ordinariness, into a empty. Through that empty, we have the capability to arise into the causal stage of the Buddha's experiences. So not even require tantric practice to do that. Even in the sutra practice, through emptiness, we can able to do that. Even for tantric practice, without the emptiness wisdom, what we are explaining now, without emptiness wisdom, even deity yoga also cannot actualize the actual effect of, arising into a deity. You see, yeah. So the emptiness is unexalted protection and unsurpassed protection, like what we learn from Hasutra. The Hasutra wisdom. We talk about unsurpassed mantra, unexalted mantra. The wisdom mantra we interpret like that, a similar way. The fourfold practice is the most excellent method. Relate whatever you can to meditate on right now. Okay. The fourfold practice is accumulation of merit first. Second one is purification of negativities. Then the third one is a making offering to the malevolent forces. Then the fourth one is offering Toma and offering supplication to the Dharma protectors. So these are the fourfold practices. It's the most excellent method. To gather conducive condition to develop true altruism, to dispel the hindrances, to the development of the path. So these four practices are the fourfold practices are the most excellent to adopt. That who aspire to actualize the true altruism. Then from the seventh point, the fourth point is a presentation of lifetime practice in summary. In brief, the essence of the instruction is this: apply yourself to the five powers. The Mahayana's transfer method is the five powers alone. Their practice is vital. So in the past class, this subject has went through, I have explained quite detailed in relation to how to apply, in the lifetime, and how to apply in particularly at the junction of, facing death. So here I won't explain detail, and later in the extensive commentary will come very detailed about that. So just to have a brief explanation, in brief, the essence of the instruction in this life, apply yourself the five power. The five power here, the intention, familiarity, positive seed, eradication, and aspiration. Intention of bodhicitta, familiarity with the true altruism, emptiness of bodhicitta, positive seed. Always accumulate the virtue seed in cultivation of bodhicitta emptiness, eradication of the negativities, and most of all, eradication of self-grasping, self-cherishing. Then aspiration, aspire to actualize the two bodies of the Buddha, or aspire to actualize the bodhicitta, perfect emptiness, and aspire to actualize the Dharmakaya and the Rupakaya bodies of the Buddha. So then, so that is the lifetime practice. Then, as a mind transfer method is referring to when we come to deathbed, then five power alone, their practice is vital. So in the Mind Sutrayana, this five power is the power. No need anything else. You see, this alone can can bring us to enlightenment, bring us to higher in Pure Land, bring us to higher rebirths, based on how profound and extensive familiarity that you have actualized in the lifetime. So now when you take this 5 power at the time of death, then the sequence is slightly different from the sequence in the lifetime of the 5 power. So sequence at the time of death, first is, actualize positive seed. Then second is express the aspiration. And then third is do the purification, eradication. Fourth is then set up intention. Then, you settle, your mind completely on whatever is most familiar, the practice that you have actualized in a lifetime. So in relation to the, practice of Lojong practitioner, then, the positive seed referring to bodhicitta emptiness, aspiring to actualize bodhicitta emptiness. You aspire, even dying, but then you aspire to actualize bodhicitta emptiness. If you have not, if you already actualized, then you aspire to actualize the Buddha's 2 body, Dharmakaya and Rupakaya body. Then eradicate whatever negativities that you believe that there is. In short, then just do the purification of the, if there's even a subtle remain of the the self-grasping, self-cherishing attitude, then purify that. Then intention, then set the motivation, altruistic motivation. Then after that, then if you remember emptiness, then you just settle your mind in emptiness meditation. If you remember bodhicitta, then settle your mind in bodhicitta meditation. Don't think anything else. Don't ask anything else. Don't hope for anything else. Don't try to grab something that which is not so familiar. Even it can be a very powerful daily yoga practice or whatever. Just completely settle. In the occurrence of either of these two, whichever is most familiar, like that. So many of the people who, even practitioner, they mishandle at the time of death. That is, they try to grab too many things. Then the concentration and then the ability of mind is so poor during that period. Then somehow you pass away with confusion, which is negativity. You see, so rather from very beginning, already showing the sign of death, already you just settle, fix it. I'm going to use this 5 power, or I'm going to use this daily yoga, or I'm going to use whatever practice that you want to use. You just make sure able to settle. Yeah, like that. There are practitioners that who practice so much, but then try to grab everything and due to confusion, they get prostrated. Then because of they cannot link from the gross memory, because that is already ceasing, virtuous memory to the subtle mind. Then in between, the confusion lead to negative emotion. Then reborn as a prata, reborn as a the wandering spirit, etc. There are many stories like that. So so have to be very, very decisive. I think this is very important. Then the 5th point, the presentation of the measure of having trained the mind. The intent of the old teaching coverage on the single point. The single point is overcoming self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude. Of the 2 witness uphold the principal one, checking your mind, then signaturing by others, checking your mind. Then Then cultivate constantly the joyful mind alone, as a Lojong practitioner, as a Mayanic Lojong practitioner, just settle your heart, cultivation of emptiness and bodhicitta. Even though there may be so many other practices, if you can manage, if you can take into a supplementary practice, well done. If not, no worries. As long as you know well about emptiness and bodhicitta, as long as you remember emptiness bodhicitta, as long as you can meditate in bodhicitta emptiness, as long as you can study emptiness and bodhicitta, you are done. No worries, settle. If this can be done even as a distracted, you are trained. So we have so many activities that we need to engage in your job, families, and this and that, so many activities, especially in the West, in the city. You need to pay car bill, you need to pay electricity bill, water bill, gas bill, so many bills. Wow, if you forget, you get into trouble. Not like in the cave, not like in the the monastery manager will take care. We are ordinary monks, no need to think about that, just practice. But in the West, oh yeah, then it's not easy. There's so many things. So all these are distraction. But even that you need to take care of those responsibilities, and still never get away even one moment of sight from either emptiness or either bodhicitta cultivation or study or illustrating, or interpreting. Whatever, including paying electricity bill. Also, interpret into emptiness, interpret into bodhicitta. You see, if you're able to do that, then you are quite trained. Then can have a nice party. But then even during the party, still can able to cultivate emptiness and bodhicitta. Then welcome form, well trained. Then from the 7, now the 6th point is presentation of the commitment of the mind training. Train constantly in the 3 general point. The 3 general point. Your mind training should not, contradict your pledge, your practice, your pledge, your vows, your precepts. It could be tantric pledge, it could be Vinaya pledge, Vinaya precepts, tantric precepts, Mahayanic general sutra precept, and in particular Lojong precepts. When you do the training in the 2 hour mind, not to be, contradict with those pledge. So your mind training teaching has to be harmony with the general precept of Buddha Dharma, then in particularly the precept of the Lojong teaching. Then transform your attitude, but remain as you are, like that. No need to have a new dress for after you are training. After you are trained, no need to change the outer aspect. Changes will be there in the sense transform, the subdued, very subdued, become subdued person, that other will see, and you will have that changes. The changes here to remain, means not to kind of go out and show off. There's no need to show off intentionally. Just remain where you are, who you are, whatever, like that. So do not speak of the defeat of others, and do not reflect on others' shortcoming. Discard all expectations of rewards. So in the practice of Lojong, have to do that. So in the practice of Mahayanic Dharma, of course, in the practice of any Dharma practices, in Buddhist practices, all has to be conducted like, in particular Lojong, this has to be must. Disregards poisonous food, the harboring of self-interest, self-grasping, self-cherishing. Disregards poisonous food means anything that harbors self-grasping and self-cherishing interests or self-interest, then that has to be disregarded. Do not maintain inappropriate loyalty. Do not follow the delusion. Don't be loyalty to the delusions. Sometimes we can sport ourselves. Occasionally we become so loyal to delusions. Whatever attachment asks, you provide. Whatever anger asks, you provide. You see, whatever jealousy might ask, you provide. Up to the result. Perfect result, perfect action. perfect preparation for that. So that is the inappropriate loyalty. Do not torment with a malicious banner. So avoid insulting and harsh word to others. Do not lie in ambush. Do not harbor a retaliation from whom from whom you have received the harm. Yeah. You see. Okay, I have a story, but time is no story, no distraction. Okay, do not strike at the heart. So, do not point or speaking, weakness or weak point or the faults of others in the public or in inappropriate place. Like do not embarrass someone, even though they have done bad thing. If you want to correct them, don't do that in public. Don't do that in many people there. Like in a monastery, like in Sarajay monastery, the discipliners, whenever they spot someone have committed faults, committed wrongdoing, so at least have to take 3 steps. The first step is if the victim is at the left side, then when you scold, when you bring alert, you bring alert at the opposite direction. Not facing directly to the victim, saying that okay, today there's someone have committed like that. Okay, be careful. We know who you are, but be careful. No, you see, but not right in front of the person, not like that. Then second, not right in front of the person, but at least facing towards around that person. Then the person still didn't change, and only the third round then go to tell directly on the face. So cannot be. Straightforward is one thing. Being honest is one thing. Now here, when someone done wrong thing, especially as a Buddhist practitioner, among our brothers sisters, we cannot tell immediately on the face, say that you are wrong. You have done this wrong, that wrong. Especially in front of everybody. Even to that person alone also cannot tell. You have to speak indirectly first. Then slightly lighter, slightly closer. Then only in the third round, then you say, actually, I'm talking about you. I think you may need to change it. That also has to do with so much politeness, so much compassion, so much care like that. See? Then do not place the load of a zo onto an ox. So there are many understandings. One of I have explained before. One of these is shifting, the blame and the liability onto others. So it means like that. So do not sprint to win the race. So do not emit being the first to get the best. As a Lojong practitioner, any good thing out there, you let others to have first. Any good thing, as far as concerned, name, respect, anything, you first offer to others. So never spin the race to have the best first to yourself like that. Do not abuse this practice as a right. Do not turn the God into demon. God usually, God or Buddha, even generally, the God means someone supposed to helping you, isn't it? And for our understanding, God can relate to Buddha, supposed to helping us. But then that God, turned into demon. So Lojong is supposed to help us, by practicing Mayanic Dharma, supposed to reduce our self-grasping, self-sharing attitude. But because of you become, you know a lot, you're practicing, and you start to gain more and more ego. You boost the ego, then that is similar to God turning into demon. Do not speak misery as a mean to happiness. Then the seven, from the 7.7, the presentation of the precept of the mind training. Accomplish all yogas through a single means. Yoga of sleeping, yoga of wake up, yoga of eating, yoga of working, everything. Everything, every mundane activities, every spiritual activities through a single means. Through training in, you can understand by training in the practice of Tonglen, training in the practice of bodhicitta, training in the practice of emptiness. Overcome all errors through a single means. Overcome all errors, like such as sickness, obstacles, inner outer secret obstacle, whatever errors comes in our life, everything, overcome through the practice of Tonglen. The commentary says Tonglen, so transform through Tonglen, overcome through Tonglen, or overcome through meditation on emptiness or the bodhicitta. Then there are two tasks, one at the start and one at the end. So the most, at least the task at the beginning is the moment we wake up, we cultivate bodhicitta motivation. Then the end task is we end the day and go into sleep on the bed. So before doze into sleep, make a dedication. Before sleep, make a dedication in altruism, for whichever of the two arises. So whatever goodness comes, take into a path to enlightenment. Suffering comes, take into a path to enlightenment. Guard the two events at the cost of your life. Bodhicitta, emptiness, even the cost of our life, we have to guard it. Train in the three difficult challenges, difficulty of recalling the antidote, of the affliction at the beginning, then difficult of averting them at the middle, difficult of eradicating completely, their continuum. So train in that. Adopt the three principal conditions: the reflecting on the guru's qualities, the qualities of the teaching, qualities of the practice, then the benefit. Then second is reflecting on the precious human rebirth, the 8 endowments, 8 freedoms and 10 endowments, etc., in order to oneself to condition to make sure consistent, continue to practice the Lojong. Then the third is having faith, having renunciation, having wisdom, having joyous effort, etc. Then contemplate the three that are free of degeneration: seeing Guru as a Buddha, then respecting with the faith and much respect to the Guru. Then Lojong practice as unsurpassable practice, always that never to degenerate in our heart. These three things. Always remember. Then be endowed with the three inseparable factor. The inseparable factor virtue of the physical, like such as whenever get opportunity, physically use, like virtues of prostration, virtues of making offerings, virtues of using this physical as a vehicle to offer service to Dharma, service to sentient being, etc. Then a verbal virtue, always reciting prayers, aspirational prayers, sutras and mantras, etc. Study, recitations like that. Then mental virtues of always cultivating, loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, emptiness. Train constantly toward the chosen object, and whatever negativities or emotions arise first, then try to eradicate that first. That first focus to eradicate that. Do not depend on other conditions. As far as Lojong practice, we can practice anywhere, anytime, in any circumstances, So other practice like daily yoga, Vinaya practice, there are so many requirements, external conditions to practice, like that. For Lojong practice, every situation is conditional, what's a perfect condition to practice. You see, so not to depend on anything, you see. Good time, bad time, Lojong has to be there. Then engage. So you see, so we cannot have excuses saying that, I have not studied much, that's why I cannot practice Lojong, or I've not meditated much, or I'm not monk, or I'm not nun, or even monk and nun say, oh, I'm not Arya monk, Arya nun, I'm not Bodhisattva, I'm not Buddha, we have so many excuses. So for Lojong practice, cultivation of emptiness, cultivation of bodhicitta, cultivation of Tonglen practice, there's no excuses at all, like that. So engage in the principle practice right now, you see. So principle practice in true altruism right now, right now, because death is certain, time of death is uncertain, next moment could be the end of this life, you see, and future lifetime we have no capability to see what kind of rebirth we will take it. And we also don't have much confidence in our practices of the past, virtue of the past, you see. So take the meaning for this life, and perfect preparation for future life is right very now engage in the principle practice, you see. Engage in the principle practice, meditation, in emptiness and in bodhicitta right now. So do not apply misplaced understanding. Remember, we talk about 6 different type of misplaced understanding of forbearance, aspiration, severing, compassion, dedication, rejoicing, like such as rejoicing in the wrong thing, like that. Then do not be sporadic, do not get distracted by our worldly matters. Do not get distracted by delusions. Do not get distracted by this and that ritual, this and that practices. If we can't take ritual into a conducive cultivation of bodhicitta and emptiness, then that becomes distraction. The rest of the even other practices can become a distraction if you cannot emerge into the cultivation of bodhicitta emptiness. And that makes sense because even Tantra, one of the most powerful, sweetest practice, without bodhicitta emptiness, Tantra cannot bring enlightenment. Tantra cannot even eradicate the delusion. You see? So, yeah, so you see, so more than that, we have no choice. We have to be under the fulfilling the responsibility of our worldly necessities and needs, you see. But that should not be distraction to the cultivation of bodhicitta and emptiness. As already discussed before, everything turned into a path. Train in the decisiveness. So we have to make a firm decision, without any second thought. Yes, Lojong, meditation of emptiness, meditation of bodhicitta, practice bodhicitta emptiness is must, and I must do. I should do right now. I should do forever. So it's like, maybe, okay, maybe I should wait. Maybe let me study first. Let me, think first. Let me get the blessing from Guru whether I can practice Lojong or not. Not like that. Right now, you see. Then be released through the 2 investigate and close analysis. So you see, so be released, eradicate the affliction through the 2 ways. First, investigate, then close analysis. You see, so the investigation is which affliction arises. First investigate. So which affliction is the most obvious in you, most frequent in you? So it's first you investigate that. Then the second is how this affliction arises. What are the causes? what are the conditions, how it arises. You see, so through these two methods can able to eradicate the affliction. Do not boast of your good deeds. Do not be ill-tempered. Do not be fickle. Do not be boisterous. Yeah, like that. So, okay, now complete. So through this proliferation of the five degeneration, transform every event into the path of enlightenment. You see, so everything, everything. Then samsara become so precious. Samsara becomes so precious. Our problem becomes so precious. Our harm givens become so precious. Every difficulty that came into our life is so precious because that become a forceful condition to develop our heart in to altruism. You see, so even how heavy the five degenerations it is marvelous because that even make me even more intense in the development of the true altruism. You see, and it is so true. Like Buddha descended in the southern world. Buddha why descended in the other worlds? Why Buddha descended in the God realm? There's a reason. Because of the very sensitive towards the suffering. We can easily can understand suffering. We can easily can feel the suffering. You see, we can easily can feel the impact of the 5G generation. You see, more than that, ever more than that. Now is a very fragile time that including this pandemic crisis. You see, there's no race, there's no status. As long as you're out there, you don't take good care of yourself. This harm will anybody can get it. You see, it's a very, very fragile time. So the more the fragile it is, more the adversity out there. As for Lojong practitioner, it become even more effective in the cultivation and in the generations of the realization in the true altruism. So because of my numerous aspirations, I have defeated the tragic tale of suffering and have taken instruction to subdue self-grasping. Now, even if death comes, I have no regrets. So Geshe Chekawa said like that. So this is his practice. This is his experience. Because when Geshe Chekawa was training with Geshe Sharawa, he faced so many obstacles. He was occasionally he was abused. Occasionally he was accused. Occasionally he was sickness. All sort of nasty things happened during that period, during about that 11, 12 years of training period. And he used the Lojong teaching, and the 7-point thought transformation is the practice that he applied, he took. He applied all those adversity, as if there's no one adversity that didn't went through, no one trouble that he didn't went through. But through the 7-point technique, he able to overcome everything. And now until even death comes, next moment I have no regret. You see, much joy. Not only that, Geshe Chekawa, he applied this teaching, the 7-point thought transformation teaching, Lojong teaching, to the sick people. During that period of time, there are a lot of leprosy in Tibet. So Geshe Chekawa used this Lojong teaching, teach them and ask them to meditate, cultivate, practice, and the leprosy was cured like that. You see. So, and there's also a story that I think Geshe Chekawa was one of the relative, maybe brother or someone who against practice, who against the faith, who against the practice. But then when Geshe Chekawa was, so this brother heard Geshe Chekawa was teaching this 7 points, the Lojong, to the leprosy patients. then his heart was so touched. Then he adopted this practice even in him, and he have gained great realizations in the path like that. Okay, so similar way, when we hear this, we have to uh, uh, we are hearing from Geshe Chekawa. You see, when you read this text, you're reading his experience. You see, so similar like his brother was inspired by the teaching and apply again realization. We too, similar way, we get inspired and we also try to achieve the realization in the path that way. Okay, so thank you very much. So I stop here. So since already past the time, so maybe we do the short dedication. Dedicate just like the Bodhisattva Samanbhadra, Bodhisattva Cherese, Bodhisattva Manjushri, how Shantideva have dedicated. Similar way, this vast collective of merit, the merit they collectively accumulated through our session, be the cause of the numberless sentient beings, temporary happiness up to the ultimate happiness of enlightenment. May this collective merit be the complete cause for all the good people like yourself, and there's so many, others, like including most precious gurus like Kyabje Lama Sopa His Own Dalai Lama, and all the the source of peace and happiness of the world have perfect health, long life, successful in all their deeds, and fulfill their aspiration accordingly, swiftly. May this collective merit be a complete cause for, I think here got a lot of different FMB centers, whatever the activities that you have, whatever projects that you have, whatever visions of Lama Yeshe, Lama Sopa, whatever visions of the directors, SPCs, committees, and the members, all those wishes, aspirational Dharma wishes will fulfill, swiftly and accordingly, and most effective benefit to the sentient being. May this collective merit be a complete cause for this world to be free swiftly, from this pandemic crisis. May this collective merit be a complete cause to actualize the cure, as soon as possible, as swiftly as possible. And when everybody return to a normality of life, everyone is transformed into a virtue. Everyone transformed into a very peaceful, kind, compassionate, caring, human being. Then may this collective merit be also dedicate whoever passed away in the past, and particularly whoever passed away in these 49 days. May they free from all the hallucination of suffering through intermediate state and actualize the perfect virtues imprint and actualize higher rebirth in the perfect precious human rebirth or pure land or enlightenment like that. Then may this quality merit be a complete cause. In short, that may our heart, blessed with the courage, confident, and determination to dedicate rest of our life, rest of our energy, be in the service, be in the perfect service of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Gurus, and all the numberless sentient beings' well-being. Whatever lifestyle you may have, you can continue to do that, but everything infused by altruistic, great compassion, bodhicitta intention. So that itself is the great service that we're just mentioning now in the service of well-being of sentient being. And that is perfect service to the Guru Buddha. And perfect way to take good care of yourself. Perfect way to repay the kindness of this very lives, your parent. And perfect way to repay the kindness of numberless sentient beings. You see, so every single thing we do, never to forget. May we have the mindfulness. May this merit be the cause for us to have a mindfulness to remember that every single thing we do, even going to toilet, infused by the intention of bodhicitta. Even you go to toilet, in the reason of, the well-being of numberless sentient beings. Even you go to sleep, you cook, you smile, you talk, you watch movie, you walk, you exercise, whatever you do, everything, we have the merit of mindfulness, merit to have the mindfulness to remember to infuse with bodhicitta mind. Then most meaningful life. Then like what Geshe Chekawa said, even next moment if I die, no regret. Thank you very much. And please take very good care of yourself and be happy with the wisdom of Dharma. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.